What would happen to them if something happened to me? Well, that's a question that most carers will find themselves asking at some point. I know for myself, as a young dementia carer for Dad, I would often worry, what happens to Dad if something happens to me? But with Medical Alert, you don't have to ask that question of what if, because if something did happen to you, you know that you've already uploaded your emergency care plans for your loved one in advance, and that with one call from emergency services to the number on your carer's ID bracelet, they have full access to those emergency plans and they know exactly how to help your loved one. In fact, let me show you how easy it is to complete the emergency care plan. Medical Alert already have a fantastic page set up specifically for dementia carers. So in here you can find info on how Medical Alert works, how it stores your information, and of course what happens during an emergency. There's also a direct link to the Herbert protocol, which if you haven't seen my previous video on that, you definitely need to go check it out if you're a dementia carer. And then they have links to their carer's ID bracelets, and right here you will find the forms for the emergency care plan. The first part of the emergency care plan looks at your details, so that's putting in your name, address, and all that basic info. And when you click to the next page, it will then ask you details of the person that you care for. You then add their info into these boxes here. There is also space for you to fill out the relationship between you and the person that you're caring for. And there's space to give details about the person you care for, including communication needs and if they have memory problems. So again, very specific for dementia carers. On the next page, we have what you help with as a carer. So this helps people understand what your role is in terms of medication, doctor's surgery, how are they with eating and drinking, going to the bathroom, getting washed and dressed. All of these personal care and support needs are listed on this page for you to fill out, including a space to add info about whether you have pets at home that also need to be looked after. So this is super comprehensive. On the next page, after you've filled out what you help with, is where you start completing the emergency care plan. And this looks at things like, what would you want to happen if something happened to you and you were unable to provide care? It includes things like who else is able to provide care that the other person might be comfortable with, who to contact in an emergency, and you can add as many contacts as you like here. Info on accessing the property if people did need to get to your loved one. Once you're happy with this section, you can click through to the last page, which just asks for any additional information. So things to do with power of attorney, both health and welfare and financial, and whether the person has a DNR or an advanced care plan. You can add as much detail as you like and add anything else you think that people need to know. It takes less than 10 minutes